Discovering Asian dramas back in 2018 was an enlightening moment for me, and I've never looked back. I enjoy talking about them just as much as watching them, so much so that I decided to create a podcast with a heavier focus on Chinese dramas but passing through Korean, Japanese, Thai, and Filipino dramas. Welcome to the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast, your corner for drama talking. For more tea and soju content, consider joining Patreon, where I release extra reviews and polls. Everything is linked in the episode description. Hello, and welcome back to the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and today's episode is a very special one because we are back to our guest series, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hello. So I'm Paroma. I host the podcast Dramas Over Flowers, and I have been watching K-dramas and C-dramas for a while now. I've known Liliana from mostly Twitter and around the webs for a few years at this point. So this is great. I've been listening to a few of her episodes. Like every few months, I check in on her episodes to see like what she's produced, and it's like she's published like 900 episodes since the last time I checked in. So you are really prolific, and I admire that about you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure it'll run out because I have brain parts that will go like it'll fire and I'll get lots of ideas and then it'll just go dry. So I'm sure it'll reach that point.
I don't think it will, because like I know you're really passionate about dramas. You have been for a while. Like I remember you started this Discord a few years back, right?
I did.
Like
yeah,
and you maintained it. Like that was really great. I don't know too many people who have the patience for that kind of stuff. You do, and I admire that. So one thing I really like about your podcast is like on your solo episodes, you're one of the few people I know who can like do a solo episode, and you seem to like not run out of things to say or pause or like have like any major edit moments at all. I can kind of tell like most of these are like like one take recordings.
They are.
They are.
So basically, if I ever pause my recordings, it's basically because my dog has decided to, bark, or something has happened that has made me pause. And then I have no idea where I was. Like, I've lost my train of thought and I have to go back and sort of like figure out where I was. But basically, I have always been a chatterbox ever since I was, young. So if you give me something that I really enjoy to talk about, I can literally sit there and just talk about it for ages on ages. And it's basically the chatter that, this is going to sound really bizarre, but it's the chatter that goes on in my head. I'm just speaking it into the mic. That's literally what it is. Whenever I do an episode, I have a very hyperactive my brain is always going very fast. And basically that's literally what happens. I open the mic and I just let go.
And that just makes you perfect for podcasting. Most podcasters I know run out of things to say really quickly. Like unless it's like a discussion episode, it's hard for most people to just like hold forth alone on any topic. And I say this with a lot of respect. You can, and you're not just saying like random stuff. You're actually talking about interesting thoughts that you've had. Like you're exploring themes in your episodes. Like you have like clarity when you're talking alone, and that is rare, and that's pretty awesome, man. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I used to be when I was in college, I used to be part of I used to do history, and a lot of it is you have to argue your points, and like that's probably helped me a lot because I learned how to like sort of structure a lot of stuff. And funnily enough, whenever I started the series, so if I go and listen to my very first episodes, they sound really like almost stiff, because I would like write down every single thing. And then I very quickly realized that wasn't gonna work for me. Like, I need bullet points, and then that's it. I just go from there, because otherwise I get lost in whatever I'm supposed to be reading, and then I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be saying anymore. So I literally just have bullet points, and like that's where we're going from.
But you can ping off bullet points pretty well. The thing that I realized when okay, so I also parallelly run a YouTube channel sporadically.
Mm,
I'm
I know. I
not a
follow.
prolific.
I follow your YouTube channel.
Something that I realized, especially last year, because I was trying to do a few more videos than just one a year. um, and the disadvantage that I have is that I can, if I'm trying to follow a script, I have to like follow it entirely.
Yeah.
Or if I go like if I'm talking about, basically it's really hard for me to keep referring back to bullet points and scripts and not stumble and forget what I was
Yeah, yeah,
trying to
yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah.
So that's really, that's like something I'm trying to overcome. But I have met a few people in my life who don't really have that problem. Like they're talking about something, they their eyes kind of move to the bullet points that they already have arranged for themselves, and they keep a note of that, and then they move on to the next bullet point like naturally, without like falling, like tripping over themselves like I do. And you're probably one of them, so
Do you
that's a
know,
huge
do
advantage.
you know, do you know what I do a lot of the time? If I've lost my place or whatever, or if I'm thinking, oh, I need to like read the next bullet point to see where I'm going, I will literally just keep talking, and like my, because I can do that really well. So I just keep talking while my brain like is like reading where I'm supposed to go next, and kind of like
That's a talent.
go in that direction. And that's literally what I do. I don't know, because that's I didn't know this was something I could do until I started podcasting, because I was like, it's not a skill I've ever had to use before. I just figured it out, and then like I started recording episodes, and I was like, I can't do the script thing. I just can't. I get lost, and it just makes, I need to stop, and then it's like I'm even more lost. So bullet points just work pretty well for me, I think, for most of the time anyways. um but yes, so I've got a few questions for you. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
let's it's I always have so much fun doing these guest episodes, because I don't mind talking to myself, in, because that's literally what you're doing when you're recording by yourself. But it's always so much fun to have like other people come in and sort of talk about what they enjoy about Chinese dramas, or just dramas in general, because it's a lot of the guests that I'm having over for the season, or the next year or so, a lot of them
Yeah.
haven't watched a lot of Chinese dramas, so they're coming from a point where they've watched a few but not too many. But I know you've watched probably a fair few in your time of watching dramas in general, and
A fair few.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I always find your viewpoints really interesting, because I will say this, whenever it comes to Chinese dramas, I tend to like glaze over a lot of the problematic things, just because I do. So whenever I want something way more analyzed, that's when I go to like your guys's podcast and your page, because I know you guys will go into it. So that's
But
yeah.
with love. You
Yes,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. No, I find it really interesting, because like I choose to glaze over that stuff, but I know it's there, and I also find it interesting also because you guys are all from, different parts of the world, and you bring different views to, each drama. I always think that three people can sit down, watch the same drama, and walk away with completely different, an experience of it, just because different life experiences, different viewpoints,
mm,
different. So I always still even if I don't agree with, everything, and I don't think everybody agrees with everything all the time because that would be boring anyways. So, I still always find it really interesting to see others' point of view, and like you can take away from that even if it's not the same as yours. You can still take a lot away from that, I think. So,
True. Oh,
right.
hey, my dogs are my dogs are joining in.
It's fine. It's they're being co-stars on the podcast. It's fine. It's not my dog normally. I always warn people. You could probably hear my dog in the background, so they've just been used to it now. So,
Great.
first question. What made you interested in Chinese dramas?
Okay, so I think the first time was a miss. So I had just watched Queen in Huntsman,
Hmm.
and Saya, my co-host on Rounds of Flowers, was like, there is a C drama version of this, an
Oh.
adaptation. Go and watch that. I don't remember what it's called anymore.
Oh, I don't
It
know
it
either.
has okay, you know what? I'm just gonna look that up because it really annoys me when I can't think of drama names. Okay, hold on.
I
Queen
didn't
in-
even know there
you
was
didn't know that?
a no.
It doesn't have, is it Dilruba or is it, no, it's not Dilruba. It's the other girl. Ooh, hold on.
Oh, this is gonna bug me.
We'll find out. There is uh my drama list would be the place to go if you want to find out different versions of stuff. Oh, I found it, but then they have given the Chinese name. That's not helpful.
Oh, that's
um
great, isn't it?
oh, Love Through a Millennium. So it's Love Through a Millennium, and it is played by Zheng Chuan. Oh,
Oh, I know
Zheng
this
Chuan.
drama. I haven't
Of
watched
Love
it.
O2O. I
Yes.
was wondering where I've seen this actress before. That's
Yeah,
Love to
yeah,
O
yeah,
O2O.
yeah. Oh, it's Jing Boran. I know the main actor as well. He's pretty good. He's
Yeah.
in a couple of dramas upcoming. Yes, so I have heard it. I haven't watched it, but I have heard of this drama. I did not know. How did I not know this was a Korean? Oh my God. Well, you learn something new every day.
That's why we bring random people on our podcast.
Exactly.
So what happened was that because I was madly in love with Queen and Huntsman, it's like one of my top. It's not my gateway drama, but it very well could have been. It was one of the first dramas I'd watched, and it was the first historical K drama that I had watched. I mean, fusion historical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was blown away. The cinematography was so great, just like the humor, the romance, just everything about that drama was just perfect. And then I tried watching Love Through a Millennium, and that was my first experience of how C drama kind of slows down a plot. As
Yes.
in something that I loved for how fast paced it was,
Yeah.
and like it was like the plot was tight and there was hardly any give. This one, like it's like taffy, and they decided to pull it as much as possible, sort of to thin out the plot with like, so it's like really, thin.
It doesn't
um
surprise me, especially from that time. What year was it?
2015.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dramas from around that time, Chinese dramas, they are long. They are
Yeah.
long.
And so I couldn't get into it. I really disliked the pacing of the drama, and I was like, well, if this is what they do. Now, this wasn't actually that long. It was 24
Yeah,
episodes.
but it's 1 hour and a
But
half each episode.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
gosh.
exactly. It's chaos. But I did love the aesthetics of it. Like there
Mm,
was this charming, almost magical quality to it. Like,
yeah.
of course, at that point, I'd already been watching Korean dramas for like 4 or 5 years. And I'd gotten used to a certain type of cinematography in K dramas, which was very different from the Western stuff I'd watched
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
or even like Indian stuff I was used to. But C dramas seem to take that whole aesthetic and make it like more dreamy.
Yes.
Everything,
Yes.
yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. The plot isn't like the best, but the actors are entertaining, and this is like a new kind of aesthetic that is appealing. So maybe I'll check out a few other things. The very next thing I checked out was Nirvana and Fire, and then
Oh,
I was mad in love.
oh,
Same year, 2015. um,
brilliant
and
drama.
no, but the sad thing is, what lives up to Nirvana and Fire? Like, you've just watched Nirvana and Fire. It's
Yeah,
2015.
where'd you go from there? Oh my god. That's true. That's true. Where do you go from Nirvana and Fire? I've actually I was saying this. Somebody was asking for some recommendations, and I want to scream out, you're good like Nirvana and Fire and Joy of Life and these like epic, really good Chinese dramas, but I cannot in good faith like recommend that to like a beginner Chinese drama watcher because they will be like, oh my god, what is happening? What is going on? I have no
Yeah.
clue. So, how did you keep up with Nirvana and Fire? Because that's a lot of moving bits in one.
Oh, it was partly that I've always really liked reading dense epic fantasy.
Oh,
The,
okay.
the more dense it is, the better.
Mm,
Like, I like which kind of like puts me at a cross with like my friends, in that most people don't really like the courtroom portion of like courtroom dramas, or like
yeah.
the of the palace intrigue
Yeah, yeah,
part
yeah,
of like,
yeah,
I love those.
yeah.
That's the part I live for. And so when you had Nirvana and Fire, and it was just this really slow moving story about this guy very carefully putting his like pawns in places and
Yeah.
plotting, but he's also like humane. He's not like Sherlock. He
Yeah.
cares about his pawns, so to
Yeah.
speak. Um, and then again, he is a tragic figure. Like, there is no way to have a happy ending for this. Like,
No.
you can bring justice to the world maybe, but there is no way for the central figure to get his happy ending. It's like, it's tragic but beautiful, and it's like, it's dense, but most importantly, so clever.
Yeah.
Like, you have the heroes who are clever, and you have the antagonists who are, if not equal to the hero, but making moves that are like properly challenging to your clever protagonist. Like, yeah, the mind games were great. The chess moves were amazing, and the cinematography was excellent for
Yeah.
for that time, 2015. It was really,
Really
really
good.
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that Nirvana and Fire to this day is still one of the highest rated dramas in China and on MDL? It's like, it's one of those where international and like, people in mainland China kind of agree on, which is rare
Hmm.
because so in China you've got like your Douban scores. Douban is kind of like MDL, but way way harsher. Like they are. If you get above an 8, you are doing like ridiculously well. It's really hard to get good like ratings on Douban, and I think like Nirvana and Fire still has like a 9 point something on Douban, which is just like insane,
That's
insane.
insane.
So yeah, it's quite an achievement for them in general.
Yeah.
It's one of those dramas that is just so good, but yeah, you need to like have the patience for it to like keep all the plots in place, because otherwise it's just, I can do politics, but actually what I prefer, whenever like, that there's those dramas that do in-house politics, so like
Mm.
harem politics and that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
actually really really love that sort of stuff, like when you keep it in-house. So yeah, that's where I would go. But God, what a cracker of a drama for you to be like that. That's like, where do you go from that?
I couldn't really find anything immediately afterwards. Like, I watched a few things like My Sunshine, which is like a contemporary drama, and a few others which were really good. But most of the contemporary drama or even historicals at that time didn't appeal to me
Mm.
much. Again, this was like mid 2010s, right? So and I still remember My Sunshine. That was actually intense. Really great.
Yeah.
It had Wallace Chung, and I forget the actress's name. I can look it up. Tiffany Tang.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
She's really good.
yeah. And so that was great. But aside from that, I couldn't really find much. And then 2017 comes and I find Eternal Love, which is
Oh,
Thousand Miles of Peach
wait.
Blossom.
Yeah. I was about to say, I always say,
Sorry, 10
it-
miles, 10 miles of Peach Blossom.
Yeah. I always say 10 miles of peach blossoms because for some reason there must be a lack of like not Chinese, a lack of English titles for Chinese dramas, because
Hmm.
there is one that is like a multi-seasonal drama that is called The Eternal Love, and
Yeah.
people
So
like
confusing.
yeah, I always ask, do you mean The Eternal Love or Eternal Love? Because that is the only difference, is the in front of it, otherwise it's the same title. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really really good one. I love, whenever it comes to Chinese dramas, I love Chinese fantasy in general. Like Xianxia is one of my, it was my gateway. So it, like, I started high. That's, and it's still one of my favorites today for sure. To
What did you start
watch
with?
Ashes of Love.
Uh, yeah.
Binged it in 3 days, and I'm proud of it. I did not know what sleep was for those 3 days,
Uh,
so that was like that. Yeah, I was thrown into the deep end on that one. Netflix was like, "Here, try this. You seem to enjoy a lot of fantasy. Try this," and literally could not get over it. Went and watched all the behind the scenes, went and watched like all the extra videos that they did and everything. Was eagerly awaiting, because supposedly there was meant to be a season 2 for Ashes of Love.
yeah, I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, and that never came true. And I was like, oh, that's my first take, is I need to learn that Chinese dramas never quite do what they say they're gonna. Don't trust seasons 2.
Yeah, but also maybe it's a good thing, because when they have tried to do spin-offs or season twos, they haven't really, like, just think of like the sequels to Eternal Love, the
Yeah,
spin-offs technically.
it doesn't land us better.
I don't know what went wrong. I kind of wish they hadn't done it.
Do you know what? Because like season 3 came, I believe, last year, and I was like, this has been ages since like the first one. Like, what is happening? But I still went in and I still watched the whole thing, because like I was, not necessarily that it was good, like I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it, but I was attached to these characters that I've been following for 4 years now, because that's how long I've been watching. But between seasons, like, this is almost like a western show. You wait like a year or two and they bring out a new season. So
Yeah.
and that, funnily enough, the pair that does the Eternal Love has been paired in like 2 other dramas, so they keep getting paired over and over again for other stuff, which I just think is quite funny. So
That's true. I so I had seen Young Me in this contemporary drama a couple of years before that. I think My Boss and Me, some secretarial,
there is that, but that's not Yang Mi. It's
was it?
someone that's very similar to her.
Ah.
Boss and Me. Yeah, it's not Yang Mi. Oh, I always forget this actress' name. It's Zhao Liying. Zhao Liying. That's who it is.
Oh, is it because I for the longest time I was like, wait, she changed a lot
No,
from
so
that to this.
no. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I
they
confused
different.
her.
Yeah, different actresses. They do look alike. I can see where you've gotten it from, because it has, it's happened to me. So Zhao Liying, she's the one who's been in like Legend of Fei and The Story of Minglan and those sort of dramas.
Oh. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's not her.
No.
But yeah, so I right. So in that case, the my point doesn't actually land. But what I did find fascinating about Young Me in Eternal Love is how great she was at doing like this mm, feminine but like really strong-willed character.
Yeah. I get
And
what you mean.
yeah, and at that time, and this is all contextualized by time, because the content that we've had in the last 3 years is not what we had in like
No,
just the 3 years before that.
no.
Right, so we've been like rapidly improving in female written characters. But at that point, I was really impressed with Young Mi's portrayal of her character in Eternal Love, especially because she went through like several versions, right? She started with like this youngish apprentice girl,
Yep.
and then went through a phase where she's like this, human mortal in love, and then she's like the powerful goddess, which, by the way, is like by the time she was a powerful goddess, I was like, I love this so much because she was like unforgiving.
Oh
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
oh, that was
I
perfect.
think, do you know what? I think this is one of the things that I really, really appreciate in Chinese fantasy is that for the most part, and I see this in the ones that are like my top ones, my favorite, Chinese fantasy, they tend
Mm,
to be the ones where the female, she starts off as this like very naive, innocent, type of character, but by the end, she is like night and day to the character she was at the beginning. There is usually like a really good progression of the female lead's like arc as a whole, and that is in most places. I mean, Ashes of Love, you see the same thing with Jin Mi. So Yang Zi plays Jin Mi in that, and she's like this very innocent. She, can't feel anything, very sheltered, and then by the end, completely different character than she was. She's learnt how to, she's grown. And if we take, for example, the very recently
love between
popular,
fairy and devil.
yeah, that is the perfect example, as a character of the arc, because when she hits that goddess, she's completely different to the orchid that we've known for, lots and lots of episodes before. So
90% of the episodes.
yeah, exactly.
I
So,
really wish we had a little more time with that final version of her,
oh yeah.
because I just, it's, you're establishing a new personality. Like, she may be the same person inside, but like her personality has drastically changed. Like,
Yeah.
her habits have changed, her the way she carries herself, the way she responds to situations has changed, so the person has shifted. So
Mhm.
therefore, her it would have been interesting to see her new relationship with Dylan Wong's character. But we still got like a pretty great drama,
I
so I mean, I
think,
can't complain.
like, but I think everyone who watches Love Between Fairy and Devil, they
Mm.
pick on this point, and I think, and I would agree, because I loved that drama. Like, it was my favorite drama from last year, but I would still say it is one of the very, very few dramas where I say you just needed like another
One
four,
episode.
like even just one. I was being greedy, like make it a
Yeah.
40 episode, just extend it a little bit. But I think, like, I was looking some stuff up, and a lot of people had been saying that this drama wasn't expected to be like anything that big. It wasn't, they weren't, planning for it to be such a big thing. And
Mm.
actually, I also read, now I don't know how true this is, there's speculation on it, but there's some speculation that Esther Yu, so the female lead, she comes from money. Her dad is very, very well off, and apparently
Hmm.
he actually invested in the production of Love Between Fairy and Devil. So that's probably why it's, it looks so nice and polished, because apparently they weren't getting that support from, other places, because nobody really believed that much in it. Now, will we ever know if that's, completely the case? No, because I don't think they'll disclose it for sure. But, whether that is the case or not, it's one of those dramas that I wish just needed like a little, like one
Yeah.
episode to tie because they tied everybody else's story so nicely, and then like you get to our main couple and you get like five, not even a 5 minute, and I'm like, I feel shortchanged by this. I went through a wild ride with this couple. I need more than 5 minutes at the end.
I mean, it wasn't even 5 minutes.
No,
Like
it's
they
really-
reunite and their
yeah.
eyes meet
And
and the
that's
thing ends. Oh, make it an even number. Why stop at
yeah,
37? I
yeah.
don't get it.
Yeah. Make it,
Uh,
round it up, make it, a good 40 episode. Because that's the cut-off point anyways for Chinese dramas nowadays is 40 episodes. So make it 40 and you be good to go. So,
like right now, I'm watching Meet Yourself, which, by the way, my favorite C drama of the year
oh my god, I
already.
love it.
They
I
they
love it
started so
so
strong.
much. I love it so much. I can't even. Like, I love
Liliana, you can totally disagree with me. As much as I absolutely love this final stretch, I have to admit that like post episode 35, it kind of feels like they've run out of story.
Oh god.
And they're kind of like just being like, hey, so you remember this person? Here's an anecdote about them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
yeah.
person, and here's an anecdote about them. And like, I don't mind. I want to live in this world
Yeah.
for longer,
Yeah.
right?
So I think it's so basically the people who do Meet Yourself is the two screenwriters plus the
Find
director
yourself.
who did Find Yourself, but they also did Go Ahead. So it's the
Yeah.
same team. And I'm
You
like,
can see overlapping actors across
yeah,
these
yeah.
projects too.
Noodle Dad. I love Noodle
Ah,
Dad. He's
so
always
good.
gonna be like my favorite. I don't care whatever role he does, he's always gonna be Noodle Dad for me because I just love that role so much.
He
And
was perfect, seriously. Go
but
on, sorry.
the thing that I find so good, and like this is two screenwriters, and I find it is sometimes hard for two screenwriters to really like mash well together and cohesively do like a drama together because they're coming from two different, writing views too. But these two, they just mash so well together. Like it just blends, and the conversations that these characters have, there's
Oh,
like it's
I
like
agree.
there's actual proper conversations, whether it be about a romantic relationship, whether it be about a family relationship, and I'm like, these conversations, and also the grandma in it, I could just literally sit and watch her all day. Like I just want to listen to
She
her.
is the best.
I
Oh my God.
And it's really, I think, to me, I think the most impressive thing about this drama is basically the fact that if you realistically look at it, there is not a lot of plot. There isn't. It is, a girl moves and goes and takes a holiday, almost a breakaway, in the rural country life. That is literally it. There's not like a lot of meaty plot to this story, and yet I don't care because all I want is to like check in on these people and see how they're doing, see what they're doing with their day, whether that be that if they're selling at the market or if they're,
Yeah.
I find that that's a very special thing for, a drama to pull off, that you can keep so engaged even if that plot isn't, the biggest plot.
I agree. But let me give you a different perspective on this. I don't think it lacks plot. It lacks a larger, like a big thematic arc, maybe. What it has instead, which is far more difficult to do, is like dozens and dozens of smaller plots
Yeah.
working cohesively together, and they are all like anecdotally sort of they are thematically connected. They are all about being like genuine, being the genuine version of yourself, be honest about what you want to do, try your best, like these good, like
Yeah.
wholesome moral lessons. But they all feel connected to each other because it's very community based. It's like home and hearth, and it's
Yeah.
really hard to create that environment. And the way they did it was by creating so many smaller plots that are held together by these characters who genuinely love and like each other. And I just think that is so much harder to do than just
Yeah.
have like a larger plot where you're just constantly driving characters towards the end. So
Actually, I
yeah.
think that's a way better way to explain it because I definitely agree. That's, there's lots of like, so a lot of dramas, what they do, you'll have the main couple and that's the main focus of the drama, and then like other characters may be used to develop their plot, but at the end of the day they don't, a lot of secondary characters don't get developed. But what you have here is exactly what you're saying. You have lots of little plots and actually they do get fully developed and fully used as characters. And I think, that's something that I really, really enjoy. I find that these types of dramas just land really well for me. I've Whether it be in Korean, Korean dramas or Chinese dramas, like, stuff like Racket Boys or,
Mm.
those types of dramas, they just land really well because you have that sense of community. And I think, like, specifically for me, I live in quite a biggish town, that there is no sense of like community, there just isn't. So I love watching it on screen because I don't think it's something that, I feel like it's something, it's a bit more rare to see out in the world nowadays. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's so refreshing. Like, I love that they decided to do something new. Like in terms of what they are, like the visual feast that they have before us.
So
Like, we've all
beautiful.
seen rural environments, but like
Mm,
like this, they found a town that has like older architecture kept really
yeah.
well preserved, and then they shot around that town, and it's lovely and it's lived in, and you can see that the writers really have pulled either from their own experiences of towns that they have come from, or have gone and like lived in such a town and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
pulled from it. Because you can, it feels both like, there are two basic perspectives here: perspectives of the local people living in that town,
Mm,
and the perspective of the people visiting.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now,
yeah.
if you've never lived in a village town like that, you wouldn't be able to do the locals perspective very well, but these writers can.
Yeah,
So that they really like drew from experience is what
yeah.
I'm getting out of this, because no way is this just
Yeah,
research
yeah.
based.
I Like I said, I love when these three get together. This director and these two screenwriters, I absolutely love when they get together. I'm always on the lookout because anytime they work together, I found myself really enjoying their work. So
Yeah,
I'm just like, you just need to work together all the time.
all the time,
All
like
the time
seriously.
because you make such good dramas together. So yeah, yeah, I haven't quite finished Meet Yourself, and it isn't because I'm not enjoying it. It is because it's that type of drama that I don't want to finish. Like, I don't want it to end. So I'm like dragging my feet, and it's definitely not because I'm not enjoying it. It's because I'm enjoying it so much that I don't want
No,
it to
I
end.
completely get what you're saying. So you have that, most of us who watch a lot of dramas, we
Yeah.
tend to be able to binge a lot, and we get dragged. Once we get dragged into a story and we enter that binge zone,
Yeah.
we're watching like 10 episodes in one go, and it's unhealthy and not the best way to consume anything. But it's like that's how the story is going, and you kind
Yeah.
of can't stop. But the great thing about a drama like this, which is beautiful and warm and heartwarming, yeah, it's so great, and it's interesting and funny and lovely, all of that
Mm.
stuff. Yet, because it's like stitched together, it's like a tapestry of like so many stories. It's okay to like stop after
Yeah.
an episode ends, because like you don't feel like you've been left hanging in the middle
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
big
yeah,
plot.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I've actually been like better. I've paced myself better with this. I mean, so K Fangirl, from the Fangirl Verdict, and I have we kind of started watching it together, and she is, I think, 8 episodes in, and I'm on my 37th episode. But but despite how widely like our pace varies, um I like she's actually surprised I haven't already finished it because I've been like chunking them
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
I'll watch like 3-4 episodes and then I'll wait a day and then I'll go back and watch another 3-4 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's it's been lovely.
So when I started watching it, I started when it started airing because as soon as I saw who was writing this, who was acting in this, I was like, there is no way I'm not watching this. Like the
Gosh.
acting, like I know these actors, I know they do really well. I know this director, I know these writers, screenwriters. So like I started watching the day it came out. And by episode 3, what I said to a couple of friends was, this is the perfect drama for you to get home from a long day of work and to sit down and watch an episode of, because it's kind of like that unwind. It's kind of like I've been describing it as, it's almost like that hug. It's almost like a warm hug,
Yeah.
this drama, and that's so hard for any drama to achieve, to give you that feeling of comfort in a way that you're not stressed out, not at all. You're just so chilled watching it, and it's kind of like a complete unwind of what you're doing. And I love it. I just absolutely, I can't believe this is like, there's lots of dramas in 2023 that I'm looking forward to, and I'm like, Chinese dramas are just coming in so strong right from the get-go of 2023. It's insane.
Chinese dramas seem to have like really accelerated production and storytelling in the last year or so. They've had quite a few like bangers. You had Love Like the Galaxy.
Yep.
You had what was that? A Dream of Splendor. You
Yep.
had Love Between the Devil,
Fairy
and
and
all of
Jay. Yeah.
these.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just like last year, and I- I'm super happy. Like this is what you wait for, right?
So I think it might have been an Avenue X video that I was watching. I can't remember where I either was reading or watching something, and they mentioned that basically there's been a huge shake up in Chinese dramas, and one of the things that has happened is companies are like deciding to choose quality over quantity, which is what watchers have been telling them to do for years, because Chinese dramas have this very thing of, let's churn out, let's churn out, let's churn out,
Mhm.
let's put more dramas out. But that means that the dramas, they might be putting out 10 dramas, and in those you might get one really good one and 9 like really mediocre dramas, and that's just not
Yeah.
feasible in the long run. So a lot of companies like iQIYI, like Tencent, believe it or not, they've been losing money for like a while. And especially iQIYI, last year it had a huge shake-up. It kind of like repositioned itself. It tanked a lot of their projects and was like, no, we're gonna restart from fresh. And so Love Between Fairy and Devil, it's an iQIYI production. New Life Begins, which was really, really well received at the end of last year as well, it's an iQIYI production. And, they really are starting to shift into this mode of they want quality over quantity, which I'm so excited for, because I think once Chinese dramas put their mind to it, it's going to be they're going to be up and up. And also it's the fact that their censorship rules just tightened more and more and more, and they're like, we need to figure out a way to work around this. And I'm always really curious to see how they work around censorship, because there's ways. They just need to sort of be very sneaky and clever about it. But yeah, I think 2023 we will see even bigger shifts in Chinese dramas, which I'm very excited for. So
Yeah, I hope so. So far, I think I watched the Avenue Extra video you're talking about. I usually watch her, drama update like weekly.
mm-hmm.
It kind of just plays in the background because she streams them, and like, I'm usually walking my dog or something around
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um, and I remember her talking about at one point about how some of these companies didn't really care what the story was,
Yeah.
especially before. They just wanted the production out. They wanted to get whatever numbers they could, and this should be done with, and moving on to the next one. The sponsorship and getting a certain number of views was like the only thing they cared about. And I'm not sure
Yeah.
how that was a sustainable business model for so
Yeah, I
long.
don't know. I don't know.
Uh, so I mean, we'll come to the censorship thing, but to go back to Meet Yourself for a second, because otherwise I'll forget to say this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I remember watching Lee Sean in what was it? Go Go Squid,
Ah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I didn't like him there. Like, I
No.
liked the story, but he was so blank
Cold?
faced,
Yeah, so cold.
kind of. And it was like the story itself was appealing. It was really sweet. Um, but it was primarily the female lead's personality that made
Yeah.
Go Squid like fun to watch. And then I was like, okay, fine, maybe he's just not that great an actor. And I just never came across him in anything else that I was randomly watching. So, and then I watched him in Meet Yourself, and
Night and day. Night and day, isn't it?
so he just needed a good director. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
oh my god, he's so I don't really like that phrase green flag much, but
He's a
I
green
in
flag.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to describe this
Yeah.
character. It's I mean, it just feels reductive to, like, say that
Yeah, I know what
about a
you mean.
person. But yes, he's a green flag. In that, my God, how do you write a sensitive and sensible guy who cares about, like, because the biggest problem in Meet Yourself, like the one problem that they had for like half of the drama, after which point it wasn't really a problem anymore, was like, will I or will I not be able to get with this girl I love?
Yeah.
And the problem that they had was the kind of problem I love in romantic pairings. It wasn't an external pressure, it was an
It,
internal
yeah, yeah.
division of like perspectives. Like, I want this in my life, and I want to live my life like this. Neither of them wanted to ask the other to sacrifice.
Compromise. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it was so great because they had to hold themselves back,
Mm.
because they didn't want to put like pressure, and they didn't want to like just push their relationship to the point where it becomes all heartbreak. And it was just, and like, you can hear this guy because he gets drunk and he's talking to his friend,
Yeah.
and his friend is like, just ask her to stay here. And he's like, but why should women
Why?
have to make the
Yeah.
sacrifices?
And
He
you're
gets
like, he gets
Aw.
really angry on women's behalf, and I'm like, yes, yes, all of this. And do you know what it is as well? So the screenwriters, it's a male screenwriter and a female screenwriter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel that that's how every pairing should be, because you get both perspectives. And I feel like, his character in Meet Yourself is just like one of those characters that, and her character. So for me, what is done so well, you could literally grab these two characters, place them in the real world, and their relationship is functional. You see their relationship work, and like,
Yeah.
they can be a real couple. Like, we know obviously they're not, but you can take those characters out, put them in the real world, and you can see them like be together for a really long
Can,
time.
can I give you a bit of a spoiler?
Go for it.
So, for unlike other dramas where they just kind of be like, "Hey," and they lived happily ever after, this drama actually gives you a glimpse of when they like actual couplehood, and you see a functional relationship,
I love this.
and I'm just like, I don't get to see this enough.
Yeah.
So great.
Oh,
And
this drama.
because they're both busy, but they're supporting each other, and it's like really, and they have these conversations that are so realistic but thoughtful and considerate of each other. And it's just that their romance doesn't take over their personality
No.
or their entire life.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I'm just going to be crying about this drama for the rest of the year.
I'm hoping there's gonna be others that are like gonna be as good. I mean, I was saying last week or the week before, I did a by Lou episode, and she has
Mm.
got three dramas coming up that I'm like, I
Yeah.
cannot, I cannot wait for these. I'm so excited for all three of them. Uh,
Ah,
but especially, just like you were saying, for the actor from, Meet Yourself, I had the same thing with Wang Hedi. So
ah.
last year, last year I also watched. I can't remember. Miss the Dragon, which he is.
Oh no, why?
I don't know. I don't know. I dropped it, but I was like, I was adamant that he was a terrible actor, and I was like, I can't. No, this is terrible. So when I went into Love Between Fairy and Devil, I was like, oh my god, I have no expectations for this. Like, he's gonna be terrible. She's gonna be terrible. Like, this whole thing is, but it's fantasy, so I'll give it a try because I tend to give everything a try when it comes to fantasy. And then I was like, what? This is not the same guy. Like, what is, and I'm like, what? And then you go and watch the behind the scenes of this guy literally not being able to come out of his character, and I'm like,
Yeah, I saw those.
what happened?
Oh,
What happened here? Like, what, how did he? So yeah, I it was one of those moments. And one of the pairings that is for this drama, they're recording it right now, is by Lou and Wang Hadi in a modern set drama. And I'm like, oh
no.
my god. I'm like, every video that I come across this, I'm like, I cannot wait for this drama. I just need it to be like finished, I just need them to show us like a completed wrap up party. They're done, and it's because it's a modern drama, so it shouldn't take too long for them to turn it around, hopefully. So I'm like, I just need this drama like now, because I feel like that one's gonna be really good. Like, even
Fingers
if,
crossed.
fingers crossed. I mean, the only thing is the story might not be great, but the acting will be really good, at least. I
Yeah.
think so.
I think these two are likely to have really great chemistry.
Oh
Like
yeah.
fingers crossed, but
Yeah.
I think it will definitely work out. So really waiting for that. When I heard about the casting of Love Between, um, I I wasn't sure about Dylan Wong because on one hand I remember seeing him from that Boys Over Flowers
Oh, Meteor
adaptation,
Garden. Meteor Garden.
Meteor Garden, yeah. And I didn't love him, but then again, he was doing the archetype of that
Yeah.
character, so I couldn't really blame the actor there. That was just the archetype. But I did know Esther from Find Yourself. Like
Yeah.
she did that like support role, and she was actually really good.
Yeah.
I especially loved her character's relationship with her uncle, who's also the second main lead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I was actually optimistic because the little bit that you could see in the trailer, like C drama trailers aren't exactly they're nothing. They give you
They
no
tell you
information.
nothing. Yeah, they tell you nothing.
um but like with the glimpses that I got was like, okay, so she is like this sweet, flower girl. That seems like something else you can pull off. So I went in
Yeah.
with like low expectation for the story, but like moderately good expectations of like the actors. I was like, yeah, these are competent actors. I'm sure, it can't be too. The story blew my mind.
I
I
know.
was like not expecting that.
It came out of nowhere. I was like,
Oh,
I don't understand how this is so well done. Do you know, I keep saying there's a scene, and you'll probably remember this scene, but for me, it's a very underrated scene, and it's episode 28. I remember exactly because when I did my review for Love Between and Fairy, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And it is basically when she wants to go into like the chamber that he went into so she could
yeah.
show respect for the people. And I'm like, do you know what? And then she basically just tells him, you have to trust me because there is no hierarchy between a couple. And I'm like, yeah, yes, because yes, in theory, he's more powerful than her. And in theory, there is, but she's like, no. You know there is no hierarchy, there is no you're the demon, there is not, it's we're a couple, we work on this together. And I'm like,
Yeah.
for that line for some reason just sticks with me. And I haven't watched, so I watched this 6 months ago now, but that line is very clear and I can see the scene right in front of me. And I'm like, I love when dramas do that, when they mark you so badly that, you know, you can clearly remember the scenes. I can still see, you know, scenes from Ashes of Love from 4 years ago, but you know, that's your first drama. It kind of like sticks with you, I think. So,
Yeah.
but this whole thing, I was clearly taught that maybe give actors a couple of chances and not just, you know, write them off, because a director can also do a lot for an actor.
Mm.
So, but in the behind the scenes and everything, you see that there is actually a lot of points that it's Dylan Wang kind of like saying, oh, we should do it this way, or we should try this way. And you know, I think Meteor Garden, I believe, was his first role ever. It was, you know, and he wasn't even planning to be an actor. He just sort of like came into it and fell into it. And I'm like, this is like, these people just like, they, and you can see, so somebody who I know, she's followed his career and she's watched him, you know, and she's like, he's grown so much from where he began to where he is now. He's like, it's completely night and day. And you can see from watching the behind the scenes, you can see how hard he works at his craft. And I really enjoy when that happens, because it can lead to such good characters that just like memorable for us to watch, which, you know.
Yeah.
So
Did you watch his latest one? The one where he's like a fake eunuch?
Unchained Love. So
Angela.
I loved him. I didn't necessarily like the story. I was like, I
It
don't
was
like
so
the
weird. The
story.
story was so weird.
For me, the problem with this like Unchained Love was it was having a crisis in what it wanted to be. It was like really heavy politics or really serious drama, and then all of a sudden it isn't. It's like this fluffy drama, and it's like you can't mix these two genres. Like you either settle for something in the middle. I just feel like it was having, yeah, a genre crisis throughout the whole thing. So
I agree. But also, I think somebody forgot to tell Dylan that there was like a change in genre. So he kept being intense. I'm like, poor boy, he's trying so
I
hard.
know. And like the rest of the cast are just like, oh, was he not aware of the the thing is, I still loved him and I could see like
Yeah.
how well he did. I just didn't necessarily like the drama.
Listen, he was performing for a better script than the one that was available. Okay. He clearly thought the character through in his head. And then just like the filming and the script just failed him.
I know. I'm really hoping that the next couple of scripts for him are going to be good. I think like I am very biased. Like Bai Lu is one of my all-time favorite
Oh,
actresses in
yeah, of
general.
course.
I have not like I've watched pretty much everything she's been in bar one drama at this point, and she has chemistry with everyone. Like I don't understand it.
I
And
agree.
then I did an episode on her and where I kind of like went and found out more stuff. And she's actually, so she used to go show, she didn't even go to like performing arts school or anything like that. She graduated in foreign languages. That's why she's fluent in Korean. She's like fluent in Korean, which I
Wow.
didn't know.
I didn't know that.
I've heard her speak Korean in her videos before, but I didn't know that's where, you know, it had come from. So that's what she graduated in. And so when she was in college, she kind of did like a little bit of screenwriting and she did a little bit of acting, but it was really, really small parts. Like she did not debut as an actress until 2016. And I'm like, what? She's only been acting, you know, 5 years? What? That's insane to me. That's, you know, crazy to me. So
We have had a lot of like very like young actors who've like just popped off in the last couple of years though. And I mean you Esib you is one, and then you have Zhao Lucy.
yeah,
She's doing
she's really
incredibly right
good.
now. So we've had quite, and of course the Riba, yeah, the she's kind of taken over everything. But the interesting thing that So, so one of your questions on your outline is
Yeah,
like, are there Chinese actors I follow?
yeah, I
Um,
completely forgot about the questions.
no,
We're
no,
just
no, no.
talking at this point.
That's fine. But like, what the thing that I noticed about myself was like, I was way more drawn towards these actresses than any of the actors. Like,
Mm,
I'm way more excited when I hear projects about one of these actresses, like what they are doing next. For instance, I didn't even realize, but I wasn't doing it consciously, but I've been actually watching almost all genre dramas ever
yeah,
since she did Tiger and Rose.
yep,
Like, I just check them out just to see, hey, if I can like, I don't do that for too many other actors, but for Lucy I do
yeah,
that. And it was just like, it's I haven't like loved a lot of the dramas that she's been in, but I really loved Who Rules the World. I watched that
yeah.
twice at this point.
I
And Love Like the Galaxy was just like amazing.
I feel like she is breaking out of the, so basically I think when she started she was very much in the fluffy rom-com, you know base constantly, and she's done a lot
Mm,
of those dramas. But especially in the last year, we've seen her like branch out into other genres and other characters. And I love when an actress starts doing that, because it shows not only that she has range and she can, break out of the mold that, is the rom-com, which there's nothing wrong with rom-com. I mean, I love them, but I also love when I see other sides of actresses. And I just picking up on your point as well, it's quite interesting that when it comes to Chinese dramas, a lot of the time I go more for actresses than actors. Whereas if I go into Korean dramas, I follow a lot more actors than I do actresses. So I always find that, like, there's always that difference there. But yeah, I've been really enjoying seeing Zhao Lushi and how like she's been changing, and like last year was a really good year for her, and I feel like
yeah.
she's gonna be doing really good things. They've been advertising, I cannot remember the name of it, I think it's a fantasy drama, and she's like in this really really cool costuming. They've been advertising it over and over again in the last couple of days. um can I remember the name? I can't right now, but she looks really good in that drama, and I'm quite excited for that one. But yeah, I've been really enjoying like her progress so far as well.
Yeah, and especially because if I remember correctly, she debuted as like a secondary character in a
Mm,
few dramas, and then slowly, just the last 2 years, she kind of just like burst into the main lead,
yeah,
level. And um, what I find interesting about her is that I think I've seen one of her contemporary dramas. Please Feel at Ease,
is
Mr. Ling.
Mr.
That
Ling?
one,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
Watch
a
that
cute
one.
one.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Which I've watched a lot of these, like these smaller contemporary romances. They're cute. No, but first, I think the reason I follow these actresses is because, like, Young Mi, for instance, or even even Bailu, is that I can trust them to take on characters. At this point, also Lee Yufei.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you can trust them to take on characters who are going to be nuanced and interesting, and
Yeah.
not like
Superficial.
superficial. Yeah, exactly. And I can trust them to give me a proper hero's journey for their characters,
Mm.
which I'm not saying that other spaces lack. It's simply that um if in the last couple of years there had just been more opportunities for C drama actresses to get these, like certain C drama actresses to get these kind of
Yeah.
roles, and they have like been absolutely like grabbing on and munching, because there are still like those roles where you have like this poor girl, the is sort of like
Yeah,
have this
CEO.
really, yeah, the falling in love with her, and then like
Yeah.
there's a stalkery romance going on. That still happens, that's still there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
But like whenever you have dramas like these, it's just so it's fun and it's delicious and the writing is usually so much better. So it's just, yeah, it's worth it to follow these actresses
Yeah.
just to get like some really good dramas, and they haven't failed me yet. So
Yeah. It's so just picking up on that, what you've said, this kind of ties in, and I'm gonna go back to it, but the new drama that Bailu and Wang Hadi are starring in, Only for Love, I find it
Mm,
interesting. So he does play a CEO in that. And once you look at it, you think, oh God, is this going to be one of those? But if you look at her character, she plays a journalist and
mm,
he is a CEO who's basically, he doesn't do interviews with anyone. And the reason why he allows her to do an interview, it's not because they have a meet cute, it's not because of anything like that. It's because he follows her writing and agrees with how she writes and how she perceives things. And that's why he decides to allow her to interview him. And that's like how the plot kind of starts. And I'm like, that alone is already like different. There isn't that, uh
yeah,
oh, she's the only one who can interview me because, a full, you know what I mean? Those kind of things.
yeah.
There's actually some substance behind why he's allowing her to, interview him. So I will be quite interested to see how, because, the CEO trope is kind of like a trope that gets thrown around and used frequently. But there is ways of like revamping it and reusing that trope. I really enjoy when dramas like take tropes and then like almost shake them up and make something way, way better, or improved for our century. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
I completely agree. On a superficial note, I'm on the MDL page for this drama, Only for Love,
Oh
and
God, what
damn,
have
the
they?
poster just has like these two behind like this. I don't know what
Oh
this is, a
yeah, yeah,
book,
yeah. It's a newspaper. Yeah, yeah. I've
but
seen.
you all you can see of their, like, you can just see the tops of their head, and you can see Wonkati's eyebrow, just like one eyebrow, and it's so good.
I
That's
know.
perfect. I love this poster so much. Also, the photographs that they have, like of the shoot and stuff, he's wearing these glasses,
Oh my
and
God,
yes,
the
I
glasses! I
am
can't
in. I am
wait.
in for this look.
He carries those glasses off so well. Yeah. There's been so much footage that they've just been releasing for this drama, and I'm like,
Smart.
I
That
can't,
is
I
so smart.
can't. It is because right now, like Bailu and Wang Hedi are such hot topics in general that you want to create that buzz while and keep it going. But yeah, I can't wait for this drama. I've said it many times. I'm like, it's one of the ones where I'm like, if this doesn't air in 2023, I'm gonna be so mad at Chinese dramas. There's no way, unless something, scandalous breaks out, which I hope it doesn't. I hope they're all, being good human beings.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so um it's actually, funnily enough, are you the new Korean drama Our Blooming Youth with Park Young Shik that started yesterday?
I have that queued up.
Do
So
you?
once we're
Oh
done
my,
watching,
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
go watch that.
That's what I'm gonna go watch. And I'm linking it here because of talking about people being good human beings. I did not know this. Did you know that Our Blooming Youth is based on the Chinese drama The Golden Hairpin? Did
I
not
don't know
know
that.
that. Yeah, it's a remake. And basically, the reason why we haven't seen the hairpin, it's because the male lead was Chris Wu, who,
Uh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever see that drama, but that drama is based on a book, Chinese book, by the same name. So I'm like, I'm going to be really intrigued. I would have loved if it was somebody else. I wish it hadn't been Chris Wu in it. I would
Mm,
have loved to have both dramas to kind of like look and see how they do
yeah.
things, because I think Chinese dramas and Korean dramas often do things quite differently.
Yeah.
Just where they're coming from, those two different cultures, they're gonna put their own spin on it, and I always kind of like to see where both are coming from. And it's sad that I don't think we'll ever be able to see this one, but at least we get the Korean version of it. So
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. It's sad that we couldn't see that version, but you know, I'm glad we are getting our version.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
um, so no, oh no, sorry, I don't be
go.
taking over this
Go
episode.
for it. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Go for it.
uh, so we were talking about like basically, you know, like unexpectedly finding what was the previous drama we were talking about, like just before this? I think the one with Jalusi, right? And Dylan Wong, and the one that we are waiting for. No, wait, not Jalusi. God,
Oh, only for love.
Bailu.
Only for love. Yeah, only for love.
Bailu and Dylan Wong. So no, so I just finished watching She and Her Perfect Husband, which stars Youngmi and Jukai.
Shukai, yeah.
And Jukai has been sort of like I have a lot of fondness for Jukai since I watched Arsenal Military
Military
Academy.
Academy, yep.
And
Still
like
one of
the
his
book,
best roles.
yeah, absolutely. Like he's done quite a few things in between, but like it's the way that director the way he was designed
Yeah.
as a character was just everything from his aesthetics to also like just the precision of the historical details. It was just
Yeah.
everything was so great. But subsequently, I usually don't peek into actors' lives. I don't look them up. I just it's not so much that I have to like force myself not to. My interest usually doesn't extend into what's happening outside of their
Oh, I'm
performances
the
much.
same. I'm the same.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, about like a few things about Jukai came to my notice because when I was waiting for She and Her Perfect Husband, like a few months before that, they had announced it, and I still didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
I just knew that he was being paired with Young Mi, and I was like, oh, what are they gonna do? Are they going to make him into like this? I really hate it when they have like the younger male character be like so amazing, and you have the older female character kind of like going through like a rough patch
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
younger male character just like like the how do I put it, like the romance is like the thing that makes her life better because she's just suffering in every way.
Yeah.
I just really hate that because they
Yeah.
do it too much. um yeah, they didn't do that. It was so great, but that's let's hold off on that conversation. But what I found out about Jukai's thing was like right after he had done Arsenal Military Academy, like for a few subsequent roles, he started like just I don't know gaining weight, but like normal weight. Like this guy is already real thin.
Thin, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so and netizens started really like micro analyzing his pictures. If he's eating
Crazy.
like a burger somewhere, they would like keep sending him messages about like don't eat that burger because like that's just going to ruin your
Yeah.
and like that really got him depressed. And like I know female actors go through this so much, so it's not exactly something that is like new in this world. I just in a world where we are kind of hoping that women have to go through this a little less than before, that we it's not that audiences behave better. It's just that I find that actors these days, especially women, have started putting a bit of a boundary,
Mm,
um and like healthy boundary in like
yeah.
I will accept this much but no more from you. um and like they do it in subtle ways and it works. I feel like in a lot of ways, I could be completely wrong because this is like a relatively new thought in my head. I feel like younger male actors are simply not used to that.
Yeah, they're
Like
not. Yeah.
yeah, as in I think like the female actors no, they go in expecting this, and when it
Yeah.
happens they have
A
like there
coping
are
mechanism. They have a
kind
coping
of
mechanism for it, whereas the male actors, they're probably not thinking it'll happen to them, so they might not, have those coping
kind of
mechanism in places.
and because of the way a patriarchal system works, we kind of
Yeah.
simply assume that men need less emotional support.
Yeah.
And because I've been hearing of more instances of male leads, like especially very young male leads, going
Mm,
through these phases where audiences are obsessed with keeping them in like their post adolescent body, like you cannot grow anymore.
insanity,
it's um
insanity.
it's super creepy.
Yeah.
And I and here is a critique of C Drama Land, um which I'm so surprised I've been able to hold back till the
Go
hour
for
and
it.
30 mark. uh in that I find like this kind of behavior is not rewarded but like not punished
Yeah.
amongst audiences in C drama land. Like to an extent, like I find like in the K drama land, you have this kind of behavior. Of course, all audiences do it, but there is always like a counterbalance. Like there are people who hit back at them
Yeah,
immediately
yeah,
for.
yeah.
But in C drama land, like that kind of toxicity is what gains momentum the most. And if there is any kind of backlash to it, it's so quiet, it barely makes,
Any
an
waves.
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you'll hear critiques like a months later, but at that point when it's happening, that negativity is like all there is.
Yeah.
And part of it seems to be the web system, like the internet
Yeah.
that most C-drama audiences use in China. It really rewards
Yeah.
engagement like that.
It does. It does. So I think like in China specifically, I always say this in terms of, this may sound off topic, but it kind of blends in. So, where in Korean dramas, especially, in recent years, they have started to take into account more and more like a international audience, because that money's coming in. And I think there is like an influence that sort of comes with that. Whereas for Chinese dramas, they are very much done for Chinese people in China. And I
Mm,
feel like, the whole system is very different. Like you mentioned, it's all done online. Like most dramas, they don't go on TV, they go on web platforms. You watch them on a computer, on a phone, and you don't have like, it's like that you don't have that accountability because you're behind a screen. It is in our century, unfortunately, it is like that. You're behind a screen, you can do what you want almost. I have seen more and more like companies in China protecting or trying to like protect their actors and actresses. It's not happening as fast as it should, because they should be able to, um step in and stand by their actors and actresses when they need that support. But I think it is happening somewhat.
mm,
Unfortunately, it's just not happening fast enough. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, they are still very money orientated, and they go where the money is. And if their drama is being talked about, you know constantly, it's going to end up on hot search topics. It's going to be, that actress is going to be on hot search topics. It's going to lend to more traffic coming in. They're probably going to let it go a little bit longer than it should, because they want that traffic in. It doesn't make it correct in any sense of the word, but I
yeah.
I I I hope that's something that will change. And actually, picking up on Yang Mi, she has been one that has been constantly in this firing line, because they have been comments about like her hairline. There has been comments about like how she's aging, and I'm like, well, no, that's what happens. And we've just seen the exact same thing from oh, the actress from The Glory.
Yeah, exactly. So Song Hye
Hey Kyo?
Kyo, Song Hye
Yeah,
Kyo.
yeah, yeah,
Song
yeah.
Hye Kyo, and I loved her response. She's like, yeah, it's because I'm getting older.
Yeah, exactly what do you expect. And I feel like in Korea, actors and actresses are like, being allowed to like get, or they're just being more comfortable to say what they want to say, in a sense. by no means. They are still, I'm sure, very controlled in what they can say. But I feel like in that, aspect, Korea is far, far ahead than what China is. And I'm hoping it will change eventually because I don't want, actors and actresses to be under ridiculous amount of pressure that they have to be in. So, like I said, I've seen bits where, the companies themselves will come in and be like, this is change, where we're putting in a case or whatever. But also, do you know what I think it is? Cancel culture is something that is way, way more alive in China than it is, I think, anywhere else. It's like, I'm sure it is still, very much. I mean, we've seen it in Korea, we've seen it in, we even see it in the West, but I
No,
don't
but
think
I,
it's
I I
a.
agree with you. The kind of things you get canceled for in China is it, is a choice.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. I remember like when you had because Avenue X covered this one, right? When Dream of Splendor was airing, you had the writer like retweet somebody else's review where they said that like this writer did like a good job of modernizing because the m- basic material was like from this very old Chinese
Yeah, yeah,
play,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all she did was retweet this reviewer
Yep.
saying that she's done a good job modernizing it, and everybody's like, oh, and at some point the reviewer had basically said like that this is like better storytelling or something to that tune, and so everybody was like, how dare you think you're a
Yeah.
better writer than the greatest playwright in Chinese history, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the woman just retweeted it.
I
For
know.
God's sake.
I know. And it goes, and it's like, I think I give them props because and that's not just for China. I think it's for Korea. Those two specifically. I think the other Asian countries tend to be a little bit more liberal, but those two specifically, I give props for whoever chooses to be in that limelight because it is damn hard. You can't, it's like you literally walk on eggshells constantly. It must be, so draining. Just that aspect, you might be a really good actress or a really good actor, but if you step one toe in the wrong direction, then, your whole career can go up in
Pop.
flames. Yeah.
Yeah.
And i
Yeah.
still i still find that, some of them, this might be a controversial one, but anyone who avoids their taxes, I don't care, you chose to avoid those taxes. So, when it comes to that sort of thing, it's like, it's your own mistake. Like, just pay your goddamn taxes. You get paid so much money, just pay your taxes. But when it's like other stuff that just gets into silly territory, I'm just like, come on, come on. Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um so that is
I
definitely one of the drawbacks of Chinese dramas, I think. It's like how, and also you might be looking forward to a drama and then something goes pop and you're like, oh, you're not going to see that one anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? I'm hoping that that system has maybe stabilized a bit in the last year. But let's see. It's always really hard to tell because what props up the Chinese like television industry is a very tenuous relationship with the CCP basically.
Yeah.
On the one hand, they want the TV and movie industry to like create stuff that can be exported because that's always good for like basically the national PR system, which every
Yeah.
country does.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they are also like super freaking paranoid about what their own
When,
artists might say or do.
exactly.
And that just makes it very difficult for like producers and like creatives to just like actually do the stuff they want to do because they're always like second guessing themselves. They're writing a script and they are like, well, they won't allow this, they won't
Yeah,
allow
yeah,
this, they
yeah.
won't allow this. And that just like kills the momentum of a project. uh
In saying that though, I'm not saying I agree with censorship or anything like that. I don't. But there has been some dramas that have come out And because the censorship is in place, they've kind of almost designed a way around the censorship that's worked so well for that drama. And like the one that comes to mind for me straight away is last year's, no, was it, no, I think it was
Was Bad
2021.
Kids?
No, that one as well. But 2021, it was One and Only and Forever and Ever, starring Bai Lu and
Uh,
Ren Jialan. Now, if you read the original novel, the historical part is literally 2 chapters of the whole book. Like everything is set in modern times, and she, the female lead, remembers her, past life. She knows they are reincarnated, and she knows everything that's happened.
yeah.
But that wasn't going to fly with, censorship. So what do? They split it into 2 dramas. They make one full historical and they make one modern, and they link it in such ways that are subtle enough to pass censorship, but as a watcher, you know exactly that like they're linked. So they play the same characters, but one's in modern times, one's in historical. And so Bai Lu plays the character Shi Yi, and in the modern one, the first scene of the modern drama, she plays a dubber, and she's dubbing the last scene of One and Only. And there's like, it's
Oh, that's
so
smart.
it's
I didn't know
so
that.
cleverly interwoven. And if you see, like, there's background shots of, like, you will see little details that link the 2 dramas together. And you know why this worked so well? Because the person who wrote the screenplay is the author of the original book. So she knows this world inside out so well. And I'm like, this is one of those times where, to get around censorship, they figured out something that works so well that, it kind of made them, be a bit more creative in a sense. And there's so many hidden gems in, like, especially in Forever and Ever, in the modern version, so many little gestures that like link them two together that it's like, it's crazy. There was whole threads about them when the dramas were airing. Everybody was like picking up, it was like, a game of Cluedo where we were like, here's another one, here's another one. It was great.
It must have created like a really awesome like fandom experience while it was airing.
Loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of those that I could not wait to watch. I loved the dramas in general, but I was like, everybody was like following the threads to figure out, what other little things they had put in to kind of like link everything together. It was just done so well. It was one of those where, they had to get around it. They figured a way out, and they made it work so well that I don't think the original would have touched to what they actually ended up creating to get around censorship. So, yeah.
So sometimes having like harsh limitations does make you more creative. The problem happens when like the limitations they start affecting the industry as a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
and not just like individuals, because for instance, I was recently talking to someone about how with my liberation notes, I think the writer got way too much independence in being allowed to like indulge themselves
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
certain ways. A little more, like a stricter PD would have been nice. But that is like an individual creative process, and sometimes having limitations really does help. You're absolutely right. First is the way they did Untamed was mad, right? Like nobody even thought Untamed could be adapted, and they managed to like somewhat create some of like they managed to retain some of the more romantic moments from
Yeah, they
the
did. Yeah, yeah.
storyline without it actually crossing the line, I suppose, in the minds of CCP people who, wow, like how many dramas do they watch? I think the
I
job
don't know.
that
I
guy
don't
must
know.
have. No, but what ends up happening afterwards is like when the Untamed got made, we were like, oh, well, they managed to do it once.
And then
Let's see
they,
what happens next.
yeah, and then they pushed the boundaries with Word of Honor. I tell you, they
And
pushed. I don't know how that aired. I don't know, because
but like They push the boundaries, yes, but like
And now no,
yeah, and
nothing
then
goes.
now you're getting nothing now.
Yeah. Well,
They were like, we give you two. That's all you get.
that's it. I don't think I think they will come back. I honestly do. I just think it's about, a matter of time. Like the thing with Chinese censorship, it comes and goes. Like they'll go through moments where, they had a vibe where aliens weren't allowed and then fairies weren't allowed and then, they chop and change a lot.
Ghosts weren't allowed at one point.
Exactly.
They still don't allow like pagan mythical beasts
Yeah.
quite. Like you have to make up ones. You can't use the ones that are like actually off the land for
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
reason. So there are lots of like things that are just
So
like not
much.
allowed for this season. Oh, you had a
Exactly.
script that you were waiting to develop this
Wait till
time.
the next time. Next time.
Yeah.
Better luck next time. Um, but yeah, I think there will be, just like they made it work for The Untamed, I think they will try to make it work again because there are many dramas that are queued up and they are expensive dramas. These networks are not going to want to let go of them. Even if they have to like figure out a way, I don't think they'll let go of them.
I agree with you. The only problem is that this is a really tough way to run a business. And
Yeah.
this is why most of the television industry isn't making money. Tencent and Aichi at this point are literally the only ones who are making like, money earners in terms of like the high production shows. Like there are
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
other production houses, but most like you have had a lot of companies shut down in the last few years.
yeah.
And that is almost directly thanks to the CCP's like mood swings. So they have made the industry really difficult to have a business in, and that is
Yeah,
bad for creators because creators need the money to like fund their projects. So
exactly.
you need a friendly environment, like an environment that allows you to have like a proper business model that is sustainable and that isn't constantly combating like legal issues and like staff disappearing because they never mind. I just
Yeah.
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 So
I
that
I I totally agree. It's a very but I think that in general Chinese drama land is a very unpredictable place to be at. There's not even with them just giving you a date for a drama to air, they're either going to tell you 2 days before or the day of and they're like, "Here, the drama's here." Like go watch it. And it's like it's insane. I kind of, don't mind living in that insanity of it all. But, I think this is probably, if you're coming from a place where you've only watched maybe Korean dramas, where there is very much a structure to things, I think coming into Chinese drama land can be a little bit of a shock to the system because it's very different. They give you a date, and then even when they give you a date, don't trust that date until that episode is playing on, you're pressing play. And even then, don't trust it until it's, they have pulled dramas off, mid air.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I went through that with the drama I really liked. I think the last 7 episodes got canceled or something. I don't
yeah,
remember what the drama name is like
I
now,
don't
but
know.
it's happened to
It's
me.
happened, yeah.
So basically, have no expectations and then be pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
when it starts airing.
We're making like Chinese dramas sound like,
uh,
they are really good. You just have to be
yeah, it's a relationship
prepared.
where you have to well you should yeah, you have to be prepared.
Yeah. And
There are
also,
things that oh sorry.
and I was going to say also, even if there's always so much content in general, there's so many Chinese dramas. So you're not going to lack for, things to watch because
Yeah.
I was doing a guest episode with Lola like 2 weeks ago. We were recording and I said to her, in K drama land, you maybe if in a month you get 10, 10 dramas, 12 dramas, 15 is pushing it a bit. People will be like, oh my God, so many. And I was saying to her, in December for Chinese dramas, in 3 weeks, because the first week of December they aired nothing at all, they released like 27 dramas, and you're like, trust me, you'll never run out of content. There's so much. And
That's true.
it's insane. It's
I
insane how
also
much.
really like that they do like daily releases of
Oh
episodes.
yeah, I love that.
If there is one thing I hate about K dramas, is how miserly they are about
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
releasing episodes. It's like, oh, here you go, one episode, and maybe one other episode, and then
Yeah.
like, and sometimes you're like, they're like, hey, we're taking a week off because national holiday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chosen. You're like,
Or
what?
or they just do what they're doing now, which I am not, I hate it, I really do. And they give you 6 episodes, and then you wait 2 months,
No.
and they give you another 6 episodes, and I'm like,
I hate that
don't
too.
do this, don't do this. This is why people ran away from Western dramas. You are taking something away from Korean dramas that is so them, and it's
They're
like
just
something that we love so much, is the fact that it's one
they're
season
learning
done.
the wrong lessons from Western
Yeah,
media. Like,
yeah.
oh, do you not understand why international like viewers love you? Clearly, you don't.
No, and it actually, I said this as well. We were having a conversation, and I said this, that yes, I watch way more Chinese dramas, but I also watch a lot of Korean. Like, I loved for a really long time, actually. Only watched Korean dramas for, a good while. But I feel like last year I noticed this even more. Obviously, starting the podcast meant that I focused more on Chinese dramas, because that's what the podcast is like more aimed at. But even saying that, even before I thought about the podcast, I feel like there's more and more Korean dramas being produced, but I feel like the quality of them isn't as good as they used to be. Like, I feel like they're expecting writers to churn them out really, really quickly, and I feel like that's hindering, the overall quality of like what we love so much about Korean dramas. And the fact that they're splitting them, I'm just like, please don't. Please don't. Just let them air. Like, just let them do their thing. They're doing so well.
I think the way I have uh been thinking about K dramas lately is that uh, uh, I it was around like between 2016 and 2019 they had quite a few really great dramas
Mm.
that they dropped. Um and then they went through a phase of like something of a stagnation. Like, yes, you had COVID-19 happening. There were a lot of production issues, but we are mainly talking about the storytelling, right? So there
Yeah.
are some dramas that were really great. For instance, from last year, Tomorrow,
I
Extraordinary
loved
Attorney Woo.
Tomorrow. Oh, loved
Yeah,
those
so good.
two. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Alchemy of Souls. But
I won't
so
get into
you
that.
had
I have very different opinions on Alchemy of
fair
Souls.
enough. But like as far as like the larger audiences are concerned, like these were dramas
Yeah,
that did really well. It like
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
caught their hearts. And I think that's great. Like with the shining the shining examples that come out, sometimes that's great. But they fall short of being extraordinary,
Yeah,
like really standing out.
yeah,
Which I think we had like happening way more often in the past decade.
yeah,
So it's interesting. I think it's a period of stagnation in a way, where they're having like a sort of like an identity crisis, where
yeah.
they are approaching drama making as like a Netflix project, more often than
Yes.
not. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's helping their production process. I
No.
think that is creating a stagnation. And now you have C dramas actually putting money and backing their writers.
Yeah.
um and that's actually something that because you also wanted to compare the two
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
industries,
yeah.
right? Something that I genuinely find interesting about like how C drama approaches storytelling is that there is like a very fixed format that we are used to in K dramas, especially K dramas with like strong romantic plots.
Yep.
Or romantic subplots. Romance usually is a subplot in K
Yeah,
dramas.
yeah.
Whereas like C dramas, romance is usually not a subplot. That's like the main
Main
thrust, the
focus.
main
Yeah, yeah.
focus. But also they don't have like a very clean format
No,
breakdown. Like
no.
it's hard to predict which part of like the where the protagonists might get together, or
Yeah.
where the protagonists might like what kind of conflict. Part of it is just that they are much longer stories, so it's harder to like really sort of like divide them into
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exact quarters and be like, in this quarter we do this, in this
Yeah.
quarter we do this. So there is like way more winding of different storylines, and you unexpectedly one story takes off here and one story takes off there, like in terms of subplots. um and that is an interesting thing about C dramas, because that keeps your interest sustained like over a longer period of time, despite like it being like a 40 episode thing. Each episode is usually under an hour. It's like 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm talking about just like general C drama. Some of these are like really long episodes, but they can still sustain your interest, like the better written ones, because of like this medley of different plot lines, kind of engaging, disengaging, and you just don't know what's going to happen next. And it's not like a thriller, we don't know what's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
happen
yeah,
next.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, like a gentle um unpredictability, and that's a good thing, especially when you watch a ton of K dramas and then you enter a slump because you're like, I don't want to
They're
see
the
a single
same.
scene
Yeah,
K drama again right now.
yeah.
I'm done for the next 30 days.
I think it also helps for Chinese dramas is that they can vary so much in terms of how long they are. You have your 24 episode, you have your 30 episode, you have, actually, for most thrillers lately, we've been seeing that they sit at about 12 to 15 episodes, and that works
That's
really,
true.
really, really well for them. And they've been pumping those out, and I feel like those have been getting better and better.
Absolutely.
And like it's exactly like you were saying with the Korean drama, like, oh, they have their first kiss by this episode, and they might have, hopefully, if the writer is better than that, they shouldn't, but they might break up, in episode 15 to get back together. There is a format that they kind of follow, and it's like you were saying with Chinese dramas, they do become more unpredictable because it is the same storytelling almost, but it's just told slightly different and adapted to like however long the episode count is for that drama. So, things will come at you, but in different spots that you might expect from them. And that actually works really well for Chinese dramas.
Exactly. The other thing that I really like about C dramas, not to like, diss K dramas, because like
No,
K
no, no,
dramas is
no,
what
no. I
it's
love
my
K dramas as
primary,
well. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right? It's my primary feed. So I'm not like dissing it, but like you have to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
C dramas really focus on relationships
Mm.
a lot, and relationship building. So maybe again because some of these romances have like longer runtime, so they have time to explore relationships, but like these are relationships with deeper conversations.
Yeah.
um like I mean, everything from your, find yourself, go ahead, like those dramas,
Yeah.
meet yourself right now from
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
writers, yes, like so good. But also, like I said, Shiana, perfect husband. Even you have the dramas like Who Rules the World, which are just like
Yeah.
silly to an extent,
Yeah.
but you also have like the characters kind of, you can see why they are together, you can see what they bring into the relationship with each other, and that's like really hard to do in a shorter format storytelling, because you're not giving that much time to just the relationship, like
Mm.
just see what happens when they're actually spending time together instead of
Yeah.
constantly battling conflict. um and I think C dramas do that, like really. Oh, how could I forget You Are My Glory, which was a
Yes.
drama I loved so
Yeah.
much last year, which again, it's so much of it was just relationship,
Yeah,
like
that
these
literally
two.
was it. The focus of that drama was the relationship and how it developed so nicely.
right? Like the first half was them like falling in love and getting together. Second half was just their relationship. Something that would have just been like the end, and they have ridden off to the sunset. We don't
Yeah,
see what happens afterwards. That is what makes up the second half of the drama, and it's
yeah,
just as interesting.
yeah.
It's I think C dramas just like accept that this is. Oh, I have a theory, but again, it's not just my theory. I've heard this discussed before about how the reason C dramas don't have like an exact, like really hard format. I mean, they have a format, but it's like relatively loose, is because of like the 4-act structure of like ancient poetry. Like that's basically how like this
Oh,
storytelling is. It doesn't have like those the climactic moments and stuff like that. It's a much gentler
gentler, yeah, yeah,
um uh,
approach.
yeah, act structure. So it's basically linear storytelling most of the time. And with linear storytelling, like with Meet Yourself, for instance, very linear storytelling.
Yeah,
This happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens.
yeah.
It's more about creating a poetic experience than creating like a dramatic, the high energy one. And I because the writers come from literary backgrounds, I think it really translates into the stories we see on screen.
And that actually, it makes sense because you were just saying how they do focus a lot more on conversation and what characters are talking about. Now, by any chances, you have to wait whenever I say this, there is a lot of Chinese dramas out there, and I would say a lot of them are not worth your time. There is,
Absolutely.
there's just no way around that. There is just so much content, and a lot of it isn't worth your time. So with Chinese dramas, I always think you have to be a little bit more patient. You either have to find somebody who does the watching for you and kind of like tells you these are the ones you should be watching, or you kind of have to be prepared to go through the bad to get to the gems that are in there. I think you just have to work a little bit harder to find them, but not necessarily in recent years. I think in recent years they've been getting better and better at bringing those gems to the top of the attention board, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think there is, I always say, right, whenever I say, I enjoy dramas from all Asian countries, whether it be J dramas, Thai dramas, and I feel like I go to each country for a certain drama that I'm looking for. I'm a very mood watcher. I have to be in the right mood to watch something. And if I'm in the mood, for BL or something like that, I'm probably going to be Thai dramas. Or, if I'm in the mood for, fantasy, I tend to go for Chinese dramas. And I feel like uh, you can compare them, but it's always going to be different because different cultures, different, like we've established, complete different structures of story, just different in general. But I also think that it's a good thing to say, I can appreciate dramas from all Asian countries and not pit countries against each other. I really don't like it when the fandom gets ugly like that, in the sense
Yeah,
of
I agree.
K dramas are better or Chinese dramas are better. I'm like, K
There is no
dramas,
such
yeah,
absolute.
yeah, yeah. K dramas do this better, but Chinese dramas do this better. And it's like, if you just open up your mind to, all of these options, you will be way more fulfilled than whether you just stick to one lane and one specific, Asian country. Um, but yeah, I think all Asian countries do their own thing in a good way. You just kind of have to find what works for you because everyone's different, in what they like to watch as well.
Yeah, I agree. You like in the last few years with Thai dramas coming up, like they have really rediscovered drama making through BLs. They're like,
Yeah.
well, these make money, and now we can put actual money into them to make them like
Yeah,
slightly
yeah, yeah.
higher production. And oh my god, people like them, and like we're getting more money. Okay, maybe let's put more. I mean, it's almost as if like they did lacorns and stuff like those slap kiss
Oh, yeah,
dramas
yeah, yeah. Those
for
telenovelas.
so long. And I watched a few of them, and then the problem with Lacons were like, some of them like really tried to be like better than their
They did.
peers, but like they got no support. And then the very next drama would be like hardcore, like slap kiss. And then, and I would be like, I can't, I can't keep watching that stuff because it they always like it, the interesting thing about soap operas like telenovela type stories is how addictive they are, even when you
Oh my
know
god,
it's
yes.
so wrong. You keep watching.
I grew up, in Portugal. To this day, they have the news on at 8 o'clock, and then after, pretty much every channel will have their own telenovelas that run for about a year. I grew up watching telenovelas. I know those stories are not good, but damn, I can sit there and watch through them, and it's like, do you know what? This brings back memories of me sitting with, my family, my mum, my aunt, whatever, after dinner watching these damn things, and I'm like, this is so addictive. And, there's just something about them, and it's like, maybe because it's so crazy and out there, that you don't expect to see anything like that ever in real life. Those things are wrong. Like, if something like that happened to you in real life, you'd be running for the hills. But to watch it on screen is just so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's complete escapism, because it's like
Yeah.
that, it just completely drags you into the madness of it, and by the end you've realized you've watched the whole thing, and you're like, how what, I don't understand this.
And right now I'm noticing, so with BL dramas, they are really trying not to fall back on that Lacorn culture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so you can see like some of these like writers and stuff, they're like, well, this is a relatively new medium. Let us protect it as
Yeah.
much as we can. But like some of these do fall back on like really tried and tested tropes. So it almost feels like Lacorn but BL version.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so interesting to watch this
Yeah.
industry develop because they're self-aware. They know what's happening, right?
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
it's they're really trying to like not fall back on that stuff. They're like, let's create better content. Let's use this to create awareness and like, improve storytelling and
Yeah.
like relationships. But it's an uphill battle. I admire them for doing it. Oh, also Taiwanese dramas. I don't actually. I had a short phase where I was watching a lot of Taiwanese dramas. And then I don't know what happened in the last couple of years, but like is there like a dearth of like really standout dramas, or am I just like not hearing about them?
I don't know. I think Taiwanese dramas, I follow a couple of creators on Twitter who do, watch a lot, and they kind of put out some. I just don't hear that much about them. I mean, Taiwanese, as soon as you think Taiwanese, for me, my mind goes to, someday or one day. Now,
Yeah, that stand out. That
that
absolutely
stand out.
is. Yeah.
I'm very worried that the Koreans have grabbed that story and are remaking it, because
Yeah.
I was like, I saw somebody post something, a poll, and she was asking whether it was worth watching the Taiwanese version or if she should just watch the Korean version. And I was like saying, please watch the original. Like, it is a masterpiece of a drama. It's so good. And I feel like a little bit sad that a lot of people will only know it as the Korean version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
that's a really, really standout for me. But I don't think I've really dipped my toes that much. Like, this year, I want to try and watch more Taiwanese dramas, Japanese dramas, and Filipino dramas, because I watched two Filipino dramas last year, and I'm like, this is great. I really enjoyed them. So it's just hard to find because there's not as many people talking about them. Chinese dramas and Thai dramas, and even Korean dramas. Obviously, those are the three that people tend to like talk about much more internationally.
Mm.
But I think, yeah, Taiwanese dramas, I can't wait. There's been a movie for Someday or One Day with the same cast that I really want
Yeah.
to watch. It's not available to me anywhere, so I will have to wait for that one. But yeah, it's one of those that I don't even know if I want to try the Korean version because I'm like so attached to the original that I don't know if I
I
could.
totally get that. I totally get that because sometimes what you are craving is not like adaptations of this great story. The first story was perfect.
Yeah,
It was just perfect. Like leave it alone. Literally, there are subtitles. People can watch it
yeah,
anywhere in the world with
yeah,
subtitles. Stop remaking the same stuff. But and then there are other stories where it's not that they improve, but like it's nice to have like different perspectives through adaptations. This is just not one of them.
no,
So yeah,
no.
I get your worries.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah.
Shall we put our last question? Look,
Yes.
if so, what are your five top Chinese dramas?
Whoa.
That's a hard question, isn't it?
So hard.
Hard question.
um off the top of my head, listen, Nirvana and Fire will always be on that
Yeah,
list. It
yeah,
just
that's worthy. That's a worthy drama to be up there for sure.
I also really love 10 Miles of Peach Blossom. But I understand, like I went back to rewatch it recently and it took me a while to get through the first half because honestly the first half is like the weak
Yeah,
half.
yeah.
And but as like a new viewer at that point, I loved it so much. I'd gone back and rewatched it like almost immediately, and somehow that had not I had not slowed down. This time rewatching it, I could see how if people went back and watch it now, because it's like a 2017 drama,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and of C drama production of that time was like the
Low.
CGI is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
so and even the costumes are interesting. Like as in, like
God.
if you want me to buy that young me is a little boy,
Mm.
you know, maybe like they could have done so many things with her.
Have you watched Ashes of Love?
Listen, I will someday.
No, all
I,
right. I love that drama, but there is a scene in there that now
yeah.
looking back on it, it's like, oh my god, this CGI. This is like so I don't yeah. And you will if you ever watch that drama, you will know exactly what scene I'm talking about because it sticks in it's like what are they doing? Like what is this? It's a scene that doesn't really it's not bad in any sense. It's just like, choices were made, let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah. I will watch it someday. Unfortunately, just around the time when I was considering if I should start it, I found out how it ended. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just wait till I forget. And I have not forgotten.
Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. But also I think I kind of miss the zeitgeist for it. Like even going back, I don't know if I'll be able to enjoy it if I watch it now as much as I would have when it
Yeah,
had
yeah,
just come
yeah.
out. um the other drama that is really high on my list of like favorite C dramas when I try to force people to watch something is Unrequited Love, like the 2019 version.
Oh
um
yes, yes. It has to be the
this
2019 version, not the
uh
longer not the
yeah, I
2020.
mean, tell
No,
me about
no,
it.
has to be the 2019 version. I absolutely love that drama.
Right, it's as far as like contemporary college dramas go, uh, this was such a mature but also it was just like a really well written as far as listen, if you have a crush on someone and you can't like get over them, that's one story. But
Yeah,
if you have a crush on someone but there is like a class difference between the two of you, and in part of you resents the guy for never noticing you, but you don't actually know that they're well, like his perspective is of the thing is really different. And like you get to a point, you mature to a point where you realize like you re- you the perspectives meld, like you find out,
yeah,
you grow out of that stage, and they're just like, oh, it's just so
It's
delicious.
so
Like I
good.
can never pitch it properly because it always sounds like, hey, it's a drama about a girl who had a crush on a guy, they go to college, they start dating.
Yeah.
You can never pitch this
No,
well,
yeah.
but it's so good, so good. And also, like I said, relationship drama, like they just
Yeah,
do
it just works
so
really well.
well.
The female lead in Unrequited Love is also in Meet Yourself. She's the little cafe
Yeah.
owner. I really like her. I really like her.
um and you're right.
Yeah,
Oh wow!
yeah,
Because I was like, wait, which character? Oh my god! Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
I'm afraid I'm good like with faces. Faces stick in my mind, and then like a lot of the times I'll be watching it and I was like, I know that face. I know that, like, and then I have to figure out where I've seen it before. And she was one of those. I was like, I know this actress, and then like yeah, she's a female
Yeah.
lead from that. I love that drama.
So I wait, hold on. Liu Shi, right?
No, I think she's called Hugh.
Wait, oh no, this is a different unrequited love. Wait, why do they have a different cast?
Because
Like,
it's two. There's the 2020 version and the 2019 version.
yeah, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the 2019 version. I am. I am. Oh, that was her character name. Yeah, right. Sorry. This is such a random digression.
Oh, this happens all the time. I get.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it's me.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
one who's
I was
confused. It's
I
me
was
who's confusing. She's the female lead from the 2021 version. See, this is why they should rename their dramas.
yeah, like why if you're adapting it, like don't confuse people. What if somebody wanted to watch the previous version? Why would you make them memorize yours? That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Ah,
In
yeah.
fairness, people go watch the 2019 version. Do not don't. There's no point with the 2021 version.
Yeah. Even though I like Hu Yitian, I like the actor. I just and like he's a sweetheart. Like I like his
Yeah.
projects. But he also just seems to really do very similar characters.
Oh
And
yeah, I agree. I agree.
so what ended up happening in Unrequited Love was you didn't need this archetype that he played. And also
No,
just the way it was written, it was not. I
no.
tried the first couple of episodes and I was immediately like, nope, this is not
I
what I loved.
yeah,
um
I
did
finished
not
it.
need.
I
Okay.
finished it. It's not worth it. It's still not worth it by the end. They give.
uh
Oh, I was so mad at the ending of like the 2021 version. I was like, really, that this is what you're gonna give me? Really? No. So yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
they
Yes.
digressed from the original, and the digression was not great.
Yeah. I didn't even get to the digression part. It just like the tone was off from the very
Yeah,
on the one hand, I did not want an adaptation, but when you give me an adaptation, then you just like totally mess with the story. Oh,
yeah,
that is. Oh, but like for your audiences, because we completely like mess around a bit. The actress who starred in like the adaptation, whose name I have already forgotten, Bing Ching,
yeah. Bing
Hu
Ching.
Bing
Yeah, yeah.
Ching. So she is the cafe owner in Meet
Yes,
Yourself.
yes, yes.
But
It's me confusing.
yeah. So how far did we get to like the top five Chinese dramas? I think we covered three, right?
Four, four,
We did four.
four,
Okay,
four,
great.
four.
So do you need one more? um, there are so freaking many.
There's
I
so
would
many.
actually maybe Meet Yourself as one. I will know how I feel about it more in like 6 months time. But there is honestly like
So
there
many.
I loved You Are My Glory. I loved like Go Ahead so much. I think there are like, and recently, like I said, She Had a Perfect Husband was, I thought it was going to be just like a silly, like a sweet, silly thing. Instead, it turned out to be one of my favorite Yagami
Yeah.
performances. I mean, and also Jukai. I loved having Jukai back in like in this chill format. It was great. He was very cute.
It was definitely a different role for him than what he's usually played, for sure. See, for me, I can't get. For me, my favorite Shukai performance will always be. And funnily enough, it's not because I'm biased. Funnily enough, it is both roles that he played with Bai Lu. It's
Ah,
Arsenal Military Academy. I just feel like that role just fit him so well. But also The Legends, the fantasy drama The
did
Legends.
you did you really like it? Listen, I sat and watched the whole
Yeah.
thing because it was the two of them, and like the two of them were great, but like Liliana, the story was not great. That story was.
Look, I maybe ignore. Look, when it comes to fantasy, I give them a lot of leeway. I don't know what it is. I also watched this 3, 4 years ago, so what I felt then might be very different to what if I go. This is why I don't rewatch, because if I
Yeah,
were to go and rewatch, a lot of feelings that I have towards dramas, they would probably change, because my mind has adapted, to a whole different set of things that I look
that's true.
for in dramas. And, at that time when I watched it, I really liked it. Maybe because I really loved Bai Lu and Shu Kai together. That's
Yeah.
probably like 95% of the reason why I love that
That's
drama.
definitely 95% of the reason you love that drama. And also because Bailu was just so great. Like her character flip that happens in the story, even though
Yeah,
the
yeah,
story
yeah,
is
yeah.
crap. The way she flips her character was great. I loved it.
Like, I remember their scenes together. I don't remember much of what else happened in the drama, but I remember them, and I remember really enjoying them. So
Yeah, that's true. But do you remember the ending, Liliana?
I do remember. And I look, I can ignore the ending.
Oh,
Almost.
you are stronger than
Almost.
I am.
Almost. I can ignore a lot if my Lou is on my screen, let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, this is not like one drama, I think, but like for a period, you had all of the, and you still have them, I suppose. All of these gaming dramas
Oh
started
my
coming
god,
out,
yes.
like everything from Crossfire to Go Squid to like just like all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
The Falling Into Your Smile, the Shukai one. I
Oh,
I
I
watched that
can't.
like 3 times. It's stupid because these are silly,
Yeah.
but like they feel pretty short, even if they are their episode length aren't. Because actually, yeah, the episode run times are pretty short relatively with these dramas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're very breezy
Yeah, they're
to
easy
watch.
watches.
Yeah,
What I call a lot of the time, I call them like turn my brain off kind of watches. Because
exactly.
you
So
just
Love O2O, for
yeah,
instance,
yeah.
like
Oh,
that
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. That's not great, but I that was, believe it or not, that was my second ever drama that I watched was Love 020.
Oh,
I went
wow.
from Ashes of Love to Love 020, and then the third drama was a Korean drama, and that's when I went into Korean dramas, and that was Strong Woman Do Bong Soon. That's like my
Oh.
three dramas. Again, Strong Woman Do Bong Soon. Story, not the best. Not the best. The main couple though, I could watch
Ah,
them two together just, for however many episodes because they were adorable together.
they were mad adorable. It's if they someday like recast these two
Oh my god,
together,
please.
the internet's going to break,
They will.
probably.
It will because these two together. And also, Park Hyung Sik has been ever since he's come out of military, he's been
Mm,
delivering ridiculously good performance. Like he's choosing his projects so well after military, and I'm
yeah,
like, I'm here for it. Like
I agree. I agree. Also, again, I'm not talking about the actor because like I don't know nothing about any actor's personal life, but
no,
like
I
his
don't either.
characters are all, even though I think it's reductive, walking green flags.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
look,
They
look at
are. Oh
happiness,
my.
look at soundtrack. It's just like, oh,
Do you know what? Until you've just said that, I did not. Oh my god, they are. They are all green flags. Oh my god. The things. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
This is what I'll do when I finish recording with you. I'm gonna press play on Our Blooming Youth and start that one. That's
Oh,
the plan.
fingers crossed, man. I've
I'm
been hearing good
hoping. I'm
things
hoping.
about the first
Yeah,
episode, so
everybody. I've been hearing like the chatter online, and everybody goes, "This is how you do a first episode. This is," and I'm like, "Well, that's exciting to hear."
that is exciting, but sometimes really strong first episodes
I
make
know.
me very, very nervous.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't even know who the writer for this is for Our Blooming Youth. But it is based. The thing is, I find that when it's based on a novel of sorts, it's helpful to have that story, if that makes sense, to almost have like that line to sort of follow.
Mm.
I mean, not that the writer can't take creative liberties, but you know.
No, I'm though they often do, but then usually when a
Oh.
story is what did you discover?
No, this is the same writer that did 100 Days My Prince.
Oh, that's gives you confidence.
Yeah, and he also did Psychopath Diary. I haven't watched it, but I know people really enjoyed that one. Revolutionary Love, which I
Which,
heard,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, we're all allowed to have a bad day.
Here's this thing about K dramas. I follow certain writers
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for their
yeah.
work or certain directors maybe. Um, However, I never like trust just like a drama's, how do I say, like writer director casting doesn't necessarily give me confidence about a
Yeah, yeah,
drama,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because so many things can
Can go wrong.
go wrong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've seen like right. Shall we say Doom at your service?
I like that one.
See, but for me, I love the acting, but the story was just like
The
for me,
story was really plodding. And
it
again, that
kept going in
was
circles, in circles, in circles. That's what I
bad. But
found.
you know what I think really got it down, like the actual process
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
smooth storytelling, the dialogues. The writer chose to have these characters speak these heavy thesis
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
type dialogues, which were so hard for them to memorize. Like their behind the scenes was all about them like stumbling over their
Yeah, I
dialogues
can imagine.
because they were like mouthfuls. But also it broke from the like the sense of the drama. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't let you, they would not let you immerse yourself into the drama, because aside from a few very cinematic scenes, the rest of it, there were no breezy moments. Like it was like way too heavy for way too long. It had the same flaw that I found in My Liberation Notes. Too much indulgence. Um
Not enough
in like,
restraint.
yeah, not enough restraint. Put the CCP on them. Sorry. No, don't do that.
No, but I can understand where you're coming from. I can definitely understand where you're coming from. God, God. There's just some dramas that just need a little reeling back, just a little bit, and it changes the whole drama.
Yeah,
But the good thing is, there's always so many that the next one is always round the corner to
that
make
that's
you
that is
make
true.
so. Well, I don't even know
Yeah.
how long we've been recording for. How
I
long?
can tell you 2 hours, 27 minutes.
Oh my god. So this is now going to be my longest episode ever. Beating Love Between Fairy and Devil review.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't apologize. I've loved it, and I think we've talked about really, interesting topics. So, I think we shall end it there. It's Thank you so much for coming, to sit down and chatting with me. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I always love hearing your points of views. You always come from a different angle to where I come from, and I love when that happens because it makes you see things slightly different. So it's
I feel the
been
same
lovely.
way. I like that the two of us have different perspectives, because you can't, not everybody can think exactly alike
No.
and still expect any kind of interesting conversation.
That would be so boring. I keep saying,
Right?
like, if everybody enjoyed the exact same drama the same way, then that's all they would make. And then it would just be so boring. Everybody would get bored of everything because, that's not how we're designed. We're designed for variety.
That we are. So, congratulations on
The longest episode.
podcast
Thank you.
and the longest episode. But like, you're doing a great job with the podcast. I
Thank
like
you.
that there is like a dedicated C-drama podcast out there. I don't know of too many others, and you
There's
are
no
really like,
many.
yeah, you're really pouring your heart into this. So like, congratulations, and I
Thank
hope you
you.
do this for a very, very long time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thanks for inviting me. This was fun. This was
Great.
a lot of C-drama talk.
A lot.
And that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I always love sitting down with Paroma and basically just chatting dramas, because we always have very different viewpoints, and I always walk away with, a different perspective that I wouldn't necessarily have if I was just watching myself with, no outside interference, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was great. Thank you again to her for sitting down with me for 2 hours plus, because we didn't realize the time had just flown by. And actually she kept reminding me of the questions, because we just ended up sitting down and having a conversation, which turned, into what I hope is a lovely episode for you guys to listen to. So yeah, that's it for this week. Join me next week, where it'll be the end of the month, I think. So it'll be currently watching episode time, and it's going to be a little fun one because I have a couple of things that I've jiggled around. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. You can look forward to that, and I'll see you next week. Bye. This has been another episode of the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and you can come and chat to me on Instagram, Tea and Soju Pod, all one word, and on Twitter, tea_soju_pod. You can also email me at teandsojupodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to support this podcast, please consider joining Patreon for extra content. Lastly, if you enjoy this podcast, please help by rating and reviewing wherever you listen to help others find this drama corner. I'll leave everything linked in the description notes. See you next time for more Asian drama chatter.